Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Pisces for November 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my wealth of resources on my blog there. And if you'd love to have a reading with me, I am available now after being on a long sabbatical from taking on new clients. You can book a live reading for me at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, so what's going on in November? Only one of the most sweet months in a very long time, even though we've had so much sweetness. This is a month, that very rare month, where we have many more positive aspects than negative ones. It often happens when we have some sweet things going on in the stars that right next to them we've got bam, something challenging, bam, something challenging. And although there are some things to watch, which I will go into more details in the general report, there are way more positive aspects this month, and even though we're still working with Venus retrograde through the middle of the month, November 15th it goes direct. At that point, Mercury goes retrograde. We're getting towards the end of this long retrograde push that we've had for months and months and months. And then pushing towards the end of December, we'll start to be in an open period from this long retrograde phase. So there are the things you have to watch with, miscommunications with Mercury retrograde, changes of plans, things feeling like they're moving backwards, of course, is the theme. And with Venus retrograde, we may not be seeing clearly in money or love. I've done lots of resources on Venus retrograde. Search for Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde. You'll have more than you know what to do with. So I'm not going to go into all that now. Also, though, if you want to see where Venus has been retrograde in your chart, listen to my October report, because I talk about what Venus is doing for your sign and your placement within your sign and what you can expect from that. So we have all that going on this month. But we also have Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, and this is the star of the show now. Jupiter moves into a new sign every year. So the last time it was in Sagittarius was about 12 years ago, so it's been a while. And Sag is its own sign. So when planets move in their own sign, they're most happy, they're most productive. And Jupiter energy in general is very buoyant. So I'm calling the theme of the general transit Defiant Optimism and Relentless Hope, but I'm also mirroring that title for Pisces specifically because Pisces energy, there's a lot of outer planet activity in Pisces. It's been making it heavy and lots of transitions for Pisces energy, and I know you could be looking for some hope. So this Jupiter moving into its own sign can definitely facilitate that. I also have planned something very special for you this month, okay? So the focus of the video this month is going to be on where Jupiter is going to be moving for Pisces and what houses for each of the early, middle, and late degree placement Jupiter will be moving in through, and what you can expect with that and how to best use the energy. But for the first time ever, okay, I've been doing these horoscopes now for 6 years. So as part of my 6-year celebration of doing YouTube horoscopes and the celebration that Jupiter's going into Sag, I have finally figured out how to show you a visual of why I talk about early, middle, and late degree placements. So I'm going to go through just for a few minutes a little astrology tutorial to show you visually where Jupiter is for you. Okay, and then after that, we're going to come back to this regular video format and I'll tell you what Jupiter in the houses for early, middle, and late can bring. So if you are a person that's not interested in looking at the chart or those logistics, you have my blessing to fast forward through the part where you see a chart on the screen instead of me and get back to the point where you see me again. But I will caution you that you will be missing some pretty great stuff and possibly some life-changing information if you skip over it. So definitely taking the few minutes with me to go over this is going to answer a lot of questions and give you a framework for things I've been talking about forever. Okay, so this is very exciting. This is going to be brief. I just want to show you, finally, the visual about how, when depending on the placement that you have for Pisces, why that makes a difference as far as what your chart looks like. Okay, when we do a chart for Pisces, we put Pisces on the ascendant. Okay, that's this point. So in general horoscopes, it's very hard to account for this because there are 30 degrees in a whole sign. So from 0 degrees up until 29 degrees. Those are all of the 30 days of the Pisces birthdays and the Pisces, 30 degrees of the Pisces rising sign or moon placement, whatever you're watching for. So horoscopes are general and are often looking at an early degree chart like this. Sometimes you'll have someone looking at a middle degree chart, which I'll show you in a second, but very often it's slanted towards the beginning here, okay, which does not take into consideration what the other charts look like. So what I want to first show you here is notice where these planets are, okay? We'll just use Jupiter as an example because that's what we're talking about today. So here's Jupiter. See how Jupiter is in the 9th house currently. Don't stick too heavily to what's on these cusps or these numbers, okay? We just want you to see that Jupiter is in the 9th house there. Okay, now check out when we look at the middle degree chart. Now this is a middle of the middle degree. All right, so this is like 14 degrees. Okay, I chose 4 and 14 and 24 as what we're using because those are the middle of each. So the early degree placements run from 0 to 9 degrees. So 4 is the middle point of the early. The middle degree placements run from 10 to 19 degrees, so 14 is around the middle point there. The late degree placements run from 20 to 29 degrees, so I chose 24 as the middle point there, okay? But this, unless you have these exact placements, your chart's not going to look like this, and even then there are some factors as to where these lines and house placements are. But what you need to see is how Jupiter, the one in question here, moves back. So check it out here. Look how it's dropped back further. See how it's here getting ready to go here in the early degree chart. It's further back, so it's got longer to go to get to where it's going to cross over to the 10th house, which is where it's headed. Okay, now when we look at the late degree chart, this is the big whopper. I'm just going to get this out of the way for a second. Bring this over here. Okay, so look at where Jupiter is. Way over here. In the 8th house, okay, so you late degree placements, you haven't had Jupiter affecting your 9th house. You've been having Jupiter until recently. You've been having it in your 8th house, okay, so see how much further it has all this way to go to get over here. So that's why what you see every degree higher you have, or every day into the birth sign you have, the placements for your chart shift to the right, okay? So I'm just going to give you a triple visual here just so you can get this clear, and then we'll go back to the regular video and I'll talk about what these placements mean. I just really wanted to drive this home. Okay, so look at the early. So see our Jupiter just about to go into her. Okay, then middle, Jupiter's set back to the right. Then in the late, Jupiter's all the way back here. Okay, it's staggered. It's going to take a while before Jupiter starts affecting the 10th house for y'all. But you can see, and this is what I often talk about in the reports, that even though the 10th house is not being accentuated by Jupiter for the late degree placements, obviously you can see that, it is by these things. So that's why people can do general horoscopes and just kind of say that a house is being aspected or there's certain energies, because certainly for this period of time, as you've been seeing in the themes of my reports, the 10th house is being aspected for early, middle, and late degree placements. So it doesn't matter how, it can bring up some similar things, but the 10th house is aspected whether it's Jupiter going there for the early, and we'll get the middle over here just so you can see it. But you can see in the late, okay, all this stuff is going on in the 10th house. So you can have some similar themes going on, but it's for different reasons. Okay, so if we're being accurate about things, which I like to be, then you can see, okay, over here for the middle degree placements, you also have Saturn there. But do note, look at how Saturn is like really toying with this 11th house for early, and Saturn is still well into the middle of the 10th house for middle degrees, and then for the late degrees, Saturn is way at the beginning of its 10th house journey. And Saturn moves much more slowly than Jupiter does. So you can see what I mean about these trends. And the further out the planet is, the longer term. So the last thing I'm going to show you here, and this is just to drive home the point, then we're going to get back to the video and I'm going to talk about what the implications are for these things. Check out Neptune. All right, I talked about this in the October report and probably before that. Neptune here in the middle degree, look at it, it's right on the line there. So if you have a Neptune ascendant, or if you have a Pisces ascendant, if your birthday is between around the 1st and 6th, this year you've been having Neptune either cross over back and forth over your ascendant or your sun sign or your moon sign, whatever you're watching for. But you early degree placements, see how far it is away from there? You've had this happen already. This has happened for you in the past. So the dissolving out, the feeling like things are falling out from under you, the, possibly majorly spiritualizing your life, but also lots of things that feel like they're falling away and that you're on uncertain ground. Those middle degree placements, so between 11 and 16 or so degrees especially, and between, the first week of March, this has been going on for you. Now, next year, March 4th through March 10th is going to be accentuated for this, and like 14 to 18 degrees. But you can see for the late degree placements, Neptune is still in the 12th house. So see, you early degree placements, you're having an experience of Neptune affecting your first house. You middle degree placements, you're having it like hit full on your placements, which adds to the intensity. Then your late degree placements, you're still working with the Neptune as it moves through the 12th house. Okay, so hopefully once and for all, this can answer this question with this visual and you can understand why I take the time, because once you know this, it's really hard for me in good conscience to not speak to it. So that's why I take the time to do it. Okay, so now we're going to get back to the regular video and I'm going to talk about these things that you've seen, the possible implications for those. Hopefully that was really cool for you. It's really exciting for me to be able to do this. So now that we know where, and you can see visually where Jupiter is going to be for each of the Pisces placements, let's talk about what the implications are. Okay, so for you early degree placements, coming soon for you early middle degree placements, coming a little later for you later middle, and then coming in a while for you late degree placements. Okay, the timeline here is the early, you're in it now. The middle, probably 2 months for those early part, maybe 3 to 4, you might get deeper into it for the middle degree placements. Later degree placements, into maybe 6 or so months, you'll start to really be feeling it, but then it will retrograde and then it'll take a little while and then come back around after that. Okay, so more into 2019 is when you'll be feeling what I'm about to describe here. So it's coming for everybody, it's just staggered. So Jupiter, the great expander, the planet that wants you to go big, to plant seeds, wants you to do all of that. Oh, and bring amazing fruitions and freedom, is doing all that in your house of work and career. For those of you who are retired and not interested, maybe you'll find something on the side that you're so excited about that you wind up making money because you're bored, or because you're so excited about something, you put a lot of energy into it and turns into something. It could just be humanitarian things and nothing where you're making money, but the energy of the 10th house has to do with your place out in the world, the things you're doing out in the world. It doesn't have to just be related to work where you make money, although there is a direct correlation for many people. This is also the energy of father and father figures, so something notable going on there could come up. Okay, so during this time, your work and career and life purpose get a major boost. You may find that promotions, new jobs, life dream jobs come in, business expansion beyond your wildest beliefs, or definitely up to the next level. Sometimes you will start a second piece of work, either ancillary to something you have going on or in a totally different area. Jupiter is known for its additive, amplified effects. So very often you have something going on and then it adds to it, where you have something else going on. Very often see this as a side business or a hobby that starts making some money, and possibly you keep doing that work until you wind up having enough money to replace the original money, from the job. But in any case, additive and expanded. So very often people will find out information or have insights that help them feel like they're on track with their life purpose. To help you with this, definitely get the book Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. I talk about this periodically. Anytime I see this 10th house being worked with, and it doesn't matter, all early, middle, late degree Pisces placements, you can do this at any time, and you can preemptively do it if you're a late degree placement. It's always a good time to try to figure out what you're doing here and get on track with that, right? So the Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller will talk about your North Node, and your North Node helps you to get on track with your life purpose. So that's something to do. Often there can be an improvement in public standing. This can come through marriage or endorsement by somebody with clout. You could become a person who is a leader or, you know, in a high position where you're the one having the clout. This in general is a time of really great optimism about your place in the workplace and confidence. Now we know that people who are hiring someone often know if they're going to hire the person from the time they walk in the room. People who exude confidence, they're more likely to get the job. So Jupiter can help you to get jobs. Part of why it can do that is because it can boost your confidence. So any work that you do that can boost your confidence, affirmations, EFT tapping, can just further support this. Great healing can occur in your father, your primary, you know, these mother-father relationships are our primary relationships, and everything else comes second to that. And regardless of our upbringing, our circumstances, how we experience the energy of mother, whether a mother was there or not, how we experience the energy of father, those are formative for us, and everything else gets added to that. So you may be able to really improve relations with male energies, you know, and male energies can take many different forms. Male energy can be a female who has a very assertive energy. It can be anything. There are lots of different ways that can look, but the male energy is what is getting focused on here. So that is the 10th house, okay? Now, the 9th house is being aspected by Jupiter for a while longer, a little while longer for the middle degree placements. The later middle degree placements, it'll be even longer. For your late degree placements, you'll have a long tours now still of 9th house focus. So the 9th house is where Jupiter rules. So everything that you hear me, I'm about to go into the general transit after this, the kinds of things I talk about that Jupiter is expanding for everyone, this is going to be double time for you all, middle to late degree Pisces placements, so the latter parts of the sign. Because when Jupiter is accentuating the sign and the house that rules that sign at the same time, there's just double energy. So let's look at what that can look like. In general, a feeling of optimism about the connectedness of all things, or having pieces come in from a spiritual perspective, have an expanded view and aha moments about why we're here, what we're doing, what's the glue that holds everything together, how we're all connected. A lot of times religion or spiritual text, religious or spiritual text could come into play here, and also deep studies on these topics. This energy favors learning, and it favors teaching. So education on any level, whether you're the one who's doing the learning or whether you're the one that's doing the teaching or both, is very well favored. Publishing projects, anything with speaking, teaching, learning, different countries, different cultures, different languages, the international arena, international business, learning languages, learning about different cultures, traveling internationally or traveling long distance. Travel in general is very beautifully enhanced by Jupiter. So there will be many people will have lots more opportunities to grow their presence through speaking, through exposure to international arenas, and things that may have been more domestic could expand beautifully at this time. It can also bring zealotry, okay? So Jupiter rules Sagittarius. This is the energy of the zealot, okay? The person that gets really excited about something. I'm a Sag, and you see I get worked up about things. I embody that energy very well. So where we get very worked up about something, we can start to see that applying where there's now more books piled up on your nightstand, even if they were there before, like, you know, learning benders, and then getting so excited about something that you want to share about it, then you share about it, then you're known for sharing about it, then money is leading or linked to that. So this whole story of being excited, learning so much that you teach, then teaching turning into making income or in some way related there. So there's a lot of support there this month and over the next year. Okay, legal issues can come up. The 9th house is one of the rulers of the legal realm. So this can amplify or exacerbate issues if they need to be brought to a head. But then also it can bring remedy and bring solution, because Jupiter in the 9th house energy and Sag energy is the energy of solutions. Okay, so the more you can stay up and positive, the better. If you do a search for Margaret Lynch tapping into miracles, She's got a video that you can do every day that helps to boost your energy to be in positive expectation. The more we're in positive expectation, that sends messages out to the universe to say, give me a positive manifestation, and it draws it to you like a magnet. So things like that are especially great to do this month and well beyond. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Pisces this month. Now I want to talk about these beautiful days, dates, transits, aspects, that so many of them. I'm going to go into details about all of them. And then I'm going to go into some details about the challenging ones to watch and give you the dates for those. So we're going to go into all that now. So my theme of the month of November 2018 for all signs is defiant optimism and relentless hope. And I'm getting this from the energy of Jupiter in Sagittarius. We've just talked at length about how Jupiter in each of the houses of, your individual sign can bring that energy of Jupiter into certain areas of your life. But the general experience for everybody that everyone has access to has to do with this increased energy of sparkling luck, defiant optimism, relentless hope, unprecedented growth, glorious expansion, because Jupiter is so happy to be in its own sign, and this only happens for 1 year every 12 years. So it's a very big deal. You can think back to what was going on 12 years ago and the kinds of themes and things that showed up, and you can see how it may relate to this current transit. Of course, there are different factors at play now than there were then as well. It's always more complicated. And of course, not every person is going to experience the energy of defiant optimism and relentless hope. We shade how we see things with how we are and what our outlook is, or what we have going on in our lives, or whatever our more personal chart has going on that we may not be able to see in the general horoscope. So we see things sometimes as we are or as influences are around us, not always how they really are, right? That's reality is subjective. But in any case, this energy of teaching, learning, speaking, writing, publishing, religious, spiritual work, international travel, international business, global connections, different countries, different cultures, different languages, general expansion, general happiness, general freedom is this theme that's running through for the next year, from the end of 2018 through the end of 2019. So Jupiter is the natural ruler of Sagittarius in the 9th house. It's most happy here and exuberant. We can see this energy of one's perceptions or beliefs being broadened. Many people will have learning frenzies where they feel so driven to learn more, and the things that they're learning may be more diverse in nature. Maybe they'll go headlong into one course of study, or maybe it's a general course of study under which there are lots of little pieces. Jupiter likes to get its fingers in a lot of pudding pies. So Jupiter favors breadth, sometimes even over depth. It's the more seeds you plant now during this time, the more plants can grow from the seeds that you've planted over the next 12 years. So zealotry with a belief system or studies can definitely happen because Jupiter is the energy of excess. So we'll see this extra oomph being added to however Jupiter is manifesting. So the energy of legal matters can also come through in a very big way. One of the rulers of the legal realm is Sagittarius and the 9th house. So sometimes there's an amplification of a problem that's already brought to the law. Sometimes, this escalation brings it, but it will very likely be in the forefront over the next year. So we still have Venus retrograde until the middle of the month, and so we're not going to be seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money in many regards. However, Venus retrograde can also bring in things that we planned to do for a long time, things that we were hoping for, things that we were working towards can magically start to come in wonderful ways. If there are issues in love, self-esteem, or money or finances, sometimes those issues come back up to be dealt with. Sometimes things that we've dealt with in the past now come in as blessings in this time. So definitely check out my resources. I've done so much work for you on Venus retrograde, but I'm not going to get into that here because you can look at the October horoscope to see where Venus has been working in your sign. You can also look up Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, to find my blog, very comprehensive, and my video, very comprehensive, that tells you everything that you need to know about Venus retrograde and how to navigate the transits. We are also going to have Mercury going retrograde. So that is another factor here that has to be taken into consideration. On the 15th, we have the retreat of Mercury from 13 degrees of Sagittarius back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So that rolls until around December 6th, and then the post-shadow period runs until around the 24th of December. So if you're trying to focus on Christmas shopping or whatever other holidays you celebrate, the later kind of last minute shoppers will probably benefit more here, because by the time you're getting into mid-December, a lot of the shadow period of the Mercury, retrograde and post-shadow, post-transit shadow period will have passed. So you're better off doing it later, because there are a lot of factors involving money. But follow your flow. If you're feeling inspired, just do your thing. But you will notice, if you track making purchases when Mercury's in retrograde over time, that they tend to come in broken or the wrong size, or you don't like it or the person doesn't like it. It increases the odds of communication about what people want and about what you're ordering. So the energy is more clear towards the middle of December. So, the couple of weeks before the holiday times. So now, since we've found this amazing truth that there are more positive aspects this month than there are negative aspects, and there are a massive amount. This is a very rare month indeed. I want to touch on some of those beautiful aspects. First, I'm going to give you the dates that the positive aspects happen. And remember, when I give you the dates, that sometimes you feel the expression before or after that day. Don't cling too tightly to the actual day, because there are orbs of energy around each transit that can manifest in the days before or after. So November 1st, these are the sweet days, or the sweet aspects. November 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 15th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 26th, and 27th. So within all of that, we also have some of the best beautiful aspects of the year, with Jupiter coming together with personal planets that can bring amazing luck, some of the luckiest days of the year. So we have those wrapped up into this, okay? So the likelihood of stress, challenges, and overstimulation or general awkwardness is more likely in the days around the 15th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, and 30th. So you notice a lot less here, a lot less. We start out November. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the main transits and what you can expect with them. But to get more details about this and a written version of it, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get a month ahead the written version of the transit so that you can plan around it, because I know many people, including myself, do that. So the first, we've got this amazing transit with Jupiter and Chiron in a trine. This is a major boost to ignite your superhero self. Anything that was a challenge in the past could come back to you in a wonderful way. Let's say you've had a problem, it's been ongoing, you've been working on it, or there's an area of life that you have to work harder in. This period of time could bring major blessings in those areas. We also have, between the 5th and the 6th, the Sun and Neptune being in a beautiful aspect that can boost love and intimacy and tenderness and spiritual breakthroughs and creativity. On the 7th, we've got the new moon at 15 degrees of Scorpio. And this is time to make your new moon and wishes of anything Scorpio related. So anything having to do with debts, loans, borrowing money, loaning money, inheritances, intimacy, sex, power, esoteric studies, psychology, anything along the Scorpio lines. Between November 8th and 9th, we've got Jupiter entering Sagittarius. Yay! This is very exciting. Very, very happy in that place. We've talked at length about that. And then on the 9th, we also have Venus making a beautiful aspect with Mars, the female energies and male energies blending beautifully at this time. The draw to connect socially and romantically may be stronger now, and nice outcomes from that. Of course, still be aware that Venus is in retrograde, so you're not seeing clearly in love. And because of the closeness to Mercury being in retrograde, just keep it in mind as you're navigating through these relationship things. But either way, energy returning from the past rather than new endeavors are better supported, but just male and female energies coming together can really sizzle now. It's also great for charisma and creativity and overall sweetness. Okay, so then on November 11th, we've got the sun in this beautiful aspect with Pluto. And this has to do with your determination and your drive and your purpose, which can feel extra strong right now. Even though Venus in retrograde doesn't work well to support major launches, this is a time that expansion of something already in process can be great. So if you're following a continuum, you have something that you've been doing and then you add to it, you enhance it. This is a period of time where things like that can do well, like edits or experimentation to work that's already in play, or betas, things like that. Maybe you might be able to get some information there. Okay, so the 15th, Mars and Uranus are in a beautiful aspect. And this has to do with exciting and positive change, can have to do with wild insights that could turn out to have major merit. The energy of Uranus is fleeting. So if anything is going on in this time and you have a really good idea, definitely write it down, because you think when you have the idea, there's no way I'll forget this idea, but Uranus energy tends to, it's not very stable. But you could do something more substantial with it in the future if you hold on to it. So write down your crazy ideas. November 15th, we've got Venus direct at 25 degrees of Libra. That post-shadow period ends December 18th. So we're moving out of the Venus retrograde cycle, but there's still like a hangover of it where you're still really feeling it. And the rules still apply to a lesser degree with each day you pass out of the transit. November 15th, also, Mercury goes retrograde at 13 degrees of Sag, back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So Mercury can often bring back to us places, people, creative projects, ideas that were present before that can come back. You may find that you are very drawn to do work on publishing things. It's not the best time to launch them, but it is an amazing time to work with them in the backdrop, to do edits, to wrap up things in anticipation of this open window that's coming soon that we've been waiting for forever to push things out. I love the end of December and into January for pushing your publishing or other projects out. So this is a great time to tie up loose ends. November 19th, we've got one of those challenging aspects, Mars and Jupiter. So guard against injuries, especially now. You're more likely to get a cold, or your resistance may be down from overstimulation. This can also manifest as like wanting to expand, but then expansion or movement being blocked. But that should pass over a few days. Then on November 20th, we have another sweet aspect with the sun and Chiron. So this can bring a wonderful chance for releasing heavy baggage. So Venus is making more of its movement direct. Maybe things that came up in that retrograde may be starting to shift now. And a notable physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing is very possible from this transit. Which brings us to November 22nd through the 23rd, the full moon at almost 1 degree of Gemini. It is squaring Mars and opposing Mercury and squaring Neptune and opposing Jupiter. So it's a pretty busy, maybe could be very stressful full moon, but there are positive aspects that can come from it. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition, coming to anything Gemini, any travel things. You could have a trip come up or being followed through with. You could have something notable with your car. Be extra careful driving, because Gemini rules transportation and walking and biking and skating and whatever else, flying. Okay, so Neptune moves direct at 13 degrees of Pisces on November 24th. So this can help the fantasies that we've been rolling around in move forward into tangible reality. November 25th and 26th and 27th, we have the Sun and Jupiter getting together in Sag, and then we have the Sun and Mercury getting together. And all of that's wrapped in with this Jupiterian energy. So good news, good luck, auspicious, random things, things expected, things that you planned. This is a beautiful time. So smile big with awesome expectation. Okay, so then we've got November 30th, we've got another little bump here with Venus opposing Uranus. That often brings jolts or surprises or arguments or stressors in love and money. So just breathe deep and know that usually the things that come up with these type of transits feel really upsetting at the time, but they tend to pass pretty quickly. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits. And I hope that you definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my wealth of resources on my free blogs. Also, you can sign up for my free email newsletter and get updates as far as these newsletters that I send out with the month ahead written. Also, when I update my written horoscopes at cozybysweetstarlight.com. Cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have written horoscopes that often cover different information than I do in the videos. So you can see those, and when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you will know when I update the upcoming month, which of course everything is always ahead of time with me. Then if you're a traveler, go to astrologykissedtravelbliss.com. That is my travel astrology website where I do monthly travel astrology reports if you're traveling, special transits to note for travelers. And if you want a reading, I am still open. I have been closed for a long time on sabbatical from taking on new clients, but if you'd like to have me look at your chart, go to anniehelpsyou.com and you can book a reading with me live. And if you're interested in tarot, definitely go to my husband's website, IamHelios, IamHelios.com, and check out his tarot course where you can learn tarot, and he also does readings. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.